Talk about the significance of this out front now. Bob Baer, former CIA operative, John Avlon, editor-in-chief of the Daily Beast, and Ambassador James Woolsey, former CIA director and a former advisor to Donald Trump's campaign. Let's just start. We have a lot of breaking news right now. John, let me start with you, though. The breaking news on the U.S. attorneys. Just to be clear, when a president comes in, they usually do fire U.S. attorneys. They don't usually do it via the media and give them a few hours to clean out their desks and fire somebody who's one of the most prominent U.S. attorneys in the country. We're talking about Preet Bharara, right. Who Donald Trump personally said he wanted to stay on.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the many, the phrase was unprecedented and dangerous is what one person said about this up on Capitol Hill. This becomes a Friday night massacre because while U.S. attorneys are political appointees, they're supposed to be beyond politics. And one of the reasons Preet Bharara had such authority is that there's an ongoing investigation against a Democratic mayor on charges of corruption. He's been the sheriff of Wall Street. He was given the personal assurance of the president and the attorney general, and now he's on that list as well. One of the open questions is what happens to all the open investigations? This is not the right way to do this, and it's destabilizing in an already destabilized environment.
Destabilizing?
Well, yes, and I think rude. It sounds like the initial announcement of the travel restrictions, which seem to have been done with no staff work. Now, the second round were reasonable approaches, and maybe they can figure out how to do this a second time and patch up some of the mess that they left. But that's not the way to let a U.S. attorney go as part of a... These are very important figures in the government. Important figures,
career people who have dedicated their life to the law. I mean, it is pretty stunning.
They deserve better.
And this also comes, Bob, as we're finding out that the president did not speak to his FBI director all week. Now, meanwhile, this is as James Comey was going to Capitol Hill and briefing top Senate and House Intelligence Committee members on the very latest on the Russia investigation. We're now learning Donald Trump didn't speak to him all week.
It's quite amazing. All he has to do, he should have done it before the tweet, is call up the Department of Justice or the FBI and say, hey, was there a FISA on me? Is there any reason to believe there was an illegal tap? It would have been one phone call, 1 minute at the most. And I think he just threw that. We keep talking about this, Aaron's for a distraction, but it's knowledge that he can obtain and no one's going to hide it from him. So, the chances of actually someone tapping Trump's phone at the Trump Center is zero, frankly. It's not possible. So I think, he's probably hoping this will just go away. But, we're going to wait to see. A congressional investigation is not the place to figure this out.
Right, and of course, John, how this is progressing, we understand, is that there's actually, this is new reporting here at CNN at this hour, so I'll tell you, we've got a top-secret group within the FBI that is charged with this. This group's main job is recruiting and neutralizing foreign spies. Also do work on weapons of mass destruction. They are now tasked with the Russia investigation. We understand there are about 15 to 20 people on it, slightly fewer than were on the investigation to Hillary Clinton's emails because there was a due date on that. I mean, that was a rush job, I guess, is what they're saying. But 15 to 20 people who are now in a full top-secret capacity so that they don't have leaks.
Yeah, look, there's nothing more important than getting to the bottom of the story because it goes to the heart of the integrity of our democratic process. And when the president, suddenly, keeps being reminded that words have consequences when you're president of the United States, that doesn't send a great deal of confidence. But there keeps being more smoke in this story. And that we're going to need to get to the bottom of it, and there's nothing more serious beneath the day-to-day responsibility of government.
And Ambassador Woolsey, this does really come back to the issue of the U.S. attorneys in the sense of the Trump administration has developed a deep paranoia for what they call the deep state, career employees in the government that they say are out to get them or against their agenda and are working in the shadows against them. Perhaps that's part of the reason they're coming out so suddenly and firing these attorneys. We don't know. But this does seem to be a part of it, doesn't it?
It's really kind of hard to say exactly why this is all kind of clumsy and messy. It's not that hard to do, and you do it from administration to administration. Sometimes there's disagreements about who ought to have more responsibility. Back when I was DCI in the early 90s, we thought the FBI was trying to get too much authority over counterintelligence, and we ought to have, and they thought we were trying to get too much authority over counterintelligence. So there's these normal pushes and tugs between different parts of the bureaucracy, but it doesn't have to be like this, like what we're seeing.
This smacks of a hunt for the enemy within. Right, and that's the problem, is that there seems to be more paranoia. The fact that the administration is offering up, the deep state, and all of a sudden it gets labeled, with, sort of post-truths and alternative facts as phrases of this administration.
Yeah.
If it starts going down the rabbit hole of a hunt for the enemy within, a paranoia about leaks, history would suggest that isn't a sign of stability in an administration.
And Bob Baer, they're taking it even a step further. Republican Congressman Mike Kelly actually is the one taking it further. He says President Obama is living in Washington for the sole purpose of undermining President Trump. I just want to play for you how he put it.
He's only there for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to run a shadow government that is going to totally upset the new agenda.
Does this take it to a new level, Bob?
It's not serious. This is an alt-right conspiracy theory that there's such a thing as the deep state. I actually have dealt with deep states in the Middle East where they're generals and intelligence officers, and they are deep states. We don't have one here in the United States. There is not a concerted effort. There are leakers, both Republican and Democrats, but they're not organized, and there's nobody organized this, and certainly the former President Obama, is not doing this. And this is another distraction. I think, going down the conspiracy theory hole is not going to get us anywhere, and it's just going to wreck the credibility of this administration. And, we need some adult supervision here.